we're here, aka Pure Freak Out 10, bringing another episode of the Movie Review Show with the good movies always reviewed. Okay, back into our movie review today. And we're continuing the first month of Scream Fest. Wow. Okay, now on today's episode, we're continuing off with a particular movie, or the sequel to that film I reviewed a couple videos ago. And for those who don't know, or haven't been keeping up with my channel, a couple videos ago for Screamfest, I did a review of the all-time horror classic, An American Werewolf in London. Now, if you haven't kept up with my review, I'll waste no time talking about it, but just a quick review. I think this is a fantastic werewolf film. I think it's well made, and I think it exposes Jonathan Landis' talent out of comedy, because Jonathan Landis before this directed Animal House, one of the greatest comedies ever made. Rest in peace, John Belushi. But I think this movie shows that he has a talent to go into horror films, especially adding in this really tongue-in-cheek humor, this really dramatic storyline that almost feels like a werewolf love story, which kind of really works. It's really done really well. It's just a great film with awesome effects by Rick Baker, who would later do Men in Black. Dang, these 80s effects will always be today's effects. You look at films like The Thing, The Fly, Reanimator, all of which have fantastic effects, and I think if Hollywood wants to go back to the old days, you should watch films like those, or even this, and see what succeeded and what did succeed. The acting is awesome, just all around, probably the greatest werewolf movie ever made. Probably right up there with my next one I'm going to review. But after the success of that film, Anthony Waller, who I think loved the first one, wanted to give a sequel. So he gave the rights to Hollywood Pictures, who has done a few good films, like they've done Deep Rising, Camp Nowhere. Both films are pretty good. They're working with Disney, so shouldn't complain. But in 1997, we were given An American Werewolf in Paris. Oh boy. Now, talking about this film is like talking about something to someone, not to me, but talking about this film is like talking about this artifact you found out of the garbage. Because when this film came out, it was forgotten because a lot of people have said how bad it is. A lot of people have trashed it. Even to this day, there are still people who admit that this film exists and that it's one of the worst werewolf movies possibly ever made in the existence of life. Obviously, they have not seen some that I think are even worse than this film, but even Siskel and Ebert put the hammer down and said this movie stinks, and went on to critique the film for what it offered, and just pretty much gave it a big F. Even Roger Ebert, who admits he's not a fan of the first one, even gave this a bad review. Now, and it just surprises me that there are people who do like this film. Now, I gotta say this. What am I gonna do? I like this film. There I said it. And I'm pretty sure there's other people who like bad films too. People, I don't understand the hate this film gets. Well, I can't say that. I can understand the hate this film gets. But when you dive deeper into it, it's not really a sequel. It's more of a remake of this movie. And that being said, I still prefer both movies. I just think they're good in their own ways. And I think both of these are probably the best werewolf movies ever made. So, yeah. But I do not think this is as bad as some people have said. Like, I look at some of the reviews, I just don't understand the hate this film gets. I don't understand the hate it got from critics when it came out. I just think they were expecting a full-blown sequel instead of just a remake. So, yeah. And believe it or not, there was a deleted scene where the main villain in this film, who I will get to, is talking about the events of the first one, but they cut that out for some reason. I think if they kept it in, people would have shut up more and just went with the film. But this movie's awesome. I don't know why people hate this film. I don't understand the hate this film gets. Well, actually, I take that back. Why do I keep saying that? But while I can understand the hate this film gets, it's kind of a film that whether you love the first one or you hate the first one, you have to go into this one with an open mind. That's my thing. Like, it's not that bad. It is not a horrible piece of poop like some people said, or werewolf poop. I had to go there. But I'll go into why I enjoyed this film later. But anyway, An American Werewolf in Paris was made in 1997. It was directed by Anthony Waller, who I do not know anything about. And it stars Tom Everett Scott, who, if you've never heard of, you might have remembered this film, That Thing You Do, which I have not seen. You also got Julie Delpy, who you might remember from the Three Musketeers movie. You got Vince Villouf, Bill Buckman, Julie Bowen, Pierre Cousseau, Tom Novembre, and Thierry Lhermitte. So, not really a well-known cast. I mean, a couple of them you may or may not know if you have seen The Thing You Do, but that's a different story. But anyway, the basic plot of this film is basically this. It follows the story of this kid named Andy, played by Tom Everett Scott, who's on a trip with his friends called the Daredevil Tours, which is basically where they're going on a tour of Paris. And he gets dared by his friends to go to the... Well, I would say they dare him, but they taunt him a bit, and he's like, I'll show you guys. And he takes them to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and they're like, no, don't do it. And he's about to bungee jump off the top of the Eiffel Tower, which begs the question, why did they even taunt him in the first place if they knew he would do something as stupid as this? I mean, if he's able, like in the past, if this kid's able to do crazy stuff, like, why would you taunt him and later you find out that he's gonna do this? So that's one thing I don't understand. But while he's about to attempt the jump, this girl comes in, played by Julie Delpy, who's about to commit suicide, and he saves her, and he jumps back up, and he falls in love with this girl. And once he gets out of the hospital, he goes to see her, and she finds out that she has a rough life and everything, because her parents are dead. And later they meet again, and at this cafe, she runs off. He goes back to find her, and he meets this guy, played by Pierre Cousseau, named Claude, who basically tells him to go to this club where basically everybody's dancing and it looks like they're having a good time and everything. But it's basically the most of the people who run the club are werewolves. So basically, they go there and full moon rises and everybody becomes a werewolf and starts getting attacked. And Julie Delpy's character, who I forget her name, is one of the werewolves. And basically, Andy manages to escape, and he gets out through this hole, but as he's attempting to flee, he gets bitten by one of the werewolves, which slowly turns him into a werewolf. And now he's going nuts while also trying to basically control himself and actually try to fight it more in this one as opposed to the other one where David Nahn's character was running away the whole time. Or David is his name. But so now in this one they actually established that there's a cure to make him back into human, which was something that was never explained in the first one. So, will Andy be able to get himself back to the normal self he was? Or will he have to sleep with howls in his dreams for a long time? It's the best I could do. But American Werewolf in Paris is not a bad film. I don't understand the hate this film gets. I think it's probably, to me, one of the best werewolf films, probably next to this one. This is number 1, this is number 2. And Dog Soldiers is number 3. have it right here. Gonna review this after, but this film is not that bad. And I'm saying that right now because you might be thinking, he's an idiot because he likes that film. You probably like some stuff too that a lot of people don't like. I have my stuff that a lot of people don't like. Freddy Got Fingered. My soul to take. Even though I was a little bit disappointed in that, I still enjoyed the film. Although 2 is one of my all-time favorite animated films. Yet people still hate that. But there's still people who love that film like that. This too, there's still people who love this film. Pumpkinhead 2. Great sequel. Probably better than the first one. There, I said it. There are tons of sequels that people hate on that do not get the respect that they deserve. This is one of them. This is not that bad of a sequel. Well, and I don't find it to be as bad as some people say. But at the same time, it is a film that I do understand the problems with. Globes are. The biggest complaint that I think people talk about the film is definitely its story. Because the story feels like a retread of the first one. With that being said, the movie tries to be more of a remake of the first one. And a lot of people, I just think, were too blind to see that because it's called An American Werewolf in Paris. If they called it, if it was a remake of An American Werewolf in London, I think it would have had a better reputation, and I think a lot of people would have been nicer to it. That's my mind. I think if it was a remake, and I think if it was that, maybe a lot of people would have been nicer to it. But in a way, it did bother me. Because at least we know that there's a deleted scene where we learn that there is a kid, that the world of this one alludes to the events of this movie. So yeah, I kind of find, I don't think the film is that bad in terms of its story. And yes, I know that a lot of people have touched upon that the film tries to go more for the tongue-in-cheek humor that the first one accomplished. It's trying to be more like Scream in From Dusk Till Dawn. They even say on the back, in the tradition, this hip, edgy thriller in the electrifying tradition of Scream, Scream 2, and From Dusk Till Dawn. Like, do people even forget that Scream was popular around the time and that a lot of people were trying to do something to do it right? So I think that they wanted to do with this film. But in a way, I kind of can see that. Why people were so mad about it. But, to tell you the truth, it's not that bad. I have seen a lot more movies that take away the tone that made the original so well. Because at least this film tries to stick to the tone of the original. And I respect this movie for at least trying to go back to something that at least was successful and at least offers a good thrilling elements to it. This film offers good thrilling elements to it. So, yeah, I do have to say that. But I like the idea that there's a cure to the werewolf for the werewolves, which I actually found unique because not a lot of films, I don't think, do that. I could be wrong, but I thought that was unique. I thought it was different, whereas with this one, it kind of ends on more of like a very jaw-dropping moment where you're basically walking out of the theater with tears running down your face because the movie ends very sadly. That's basically how to put it. But I respect this movie for taking a different turn. So either way, the story is not as bad as a lot of people have said, and it is not. And I think people were expecting a little bit too much from this film. So, yeah. That's definitely one thing I do enjoy. And also, the acting is actually pretty good too. Definitely well done acting, but the main thing that people will argue about is Tom Everett Scott as the main character. And that is probably something that a lot of people have hated upon because they don't think he's a viable protagonist. But to tell you the truth, I liked him. I thought he was very likable as the character. He's a teenager. What else do you want? Like he's gonna do the teenage things. He's gonna do, You're gonna see him being a teenager, whereas David, like you felt like you were watching an adult more. Like you look at this one more looks more like a teenager in the shoes of David's character. And I do like that. I do like that. So you might as well um call this one Son of the American Werewolf. I think that would have been a lot better. I think that would have been unique. Son of the American Werewolf. That would have been an all. I think if that was there, it might have been pretty. Might have made a better title. But I didn't mind him. I didn't mind Tom Everett Scott. I thought he was funny. I liked him. I related to him a lot. He definitely is likable. I mean, and yes, a lot of people have complained about the scene where he's laughing because Julie Delpy told him that he's a werewolf. But think about this. Would you laugh if somebody ran up to you and told you were Frankenstein when it was Halloween and everything? Would you be laughing? I sure as heck would. Because that would be the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Here. But I do not understand that. Also, Julie Delpy. I think Julie Delpy did a good job here, too. Definitely very likable. But I will say she's hot, so there you go. Definitely pretty, definitely likable protagonist. Well, not protagonist, side character. Very good love interest for David. Andy. I like the fact that she's looking out for him more and being more basically being more of the stay away if you don't want to be in danger type character. And they do that a lot with boys, but I'm glad they did with more of a girl this time. So, yeah, that's definitely well done with it. But a lot of people, whether you like the main characters or not, the one that people seem to go for is Pierre Cousseau as the villain. But to tell you the truth, he was awesome. Literally, the moments when he's on screen, he was very unique. He had a very cool design for the character. To him with the robes and everything, the way he talked, he was very cool. I don't understand the hate this guy got for his performance. It's like, yeah, I mean, I will say this. His character kind of feels out of place, which some people have complained about, but I think they squeeze it in a little bit better, and I think they add a believable explanation as to why he's there and why he is a werewolf. So, yeah. That's definitely what I do, but other than that, I think he's threatening, he's very sinister. I mean, definitely has a very cool idea to him. Just a really well done character. I'm not saying he's the greatest villain in the world, which I wouldn't go as far to say because there's definitely other great villains out there, but still, I thought he did a great job. But another thing that I think the film rules at is its soundtrack. Heck yeah, the soundtrack is awesome. If you dare pick on the soundtrack, you're like Rainbow Rap for Life said this movie's out of place with its soundtrack. A lot of films add out of place music to it. Like the scene with the party in Urban Legend where they're at the party, like it's like roller coaster of love. It's a party scene, and literally they should be acting like putting in the ominous music and such. Like that gets ignored while this gets hated upon. So, but the soundtrack is awesome. The song by Fat is awesome. That's one thing I do gotta say. But really good soundtrack. Definitely really helps the film move along. And I can see what they were going for with the soundtrack. It's definitely kick A, the soundtrack. So, yeah. Last but not least is the one thing that we may have talked about a lot that pissed people off in terms of the acting, the soundtrack, or even the story and its tone, which completely disregard the elements from this film. But I think the biggest thing that people talk about in this film is definitely the CGI. When the werewolves come about, you see them running in the thing, running through the wood. Well, I would say the woods, running through the cemetery. We see them crawling through the sewers, running around. Like it's easy to tell that they're CGI, but you still get some practical effects. And I appreciate that. I actually don't think the CGI in this film looks as bad as some people have said. That being said, these are definitely better. I do like the practical effects in this movie a lot better than the CGI in this movie. But either way, the CG is not that bad. I have seen probably worse CGI definitely from the Thing remake, the Leprechaun Origins, that piece of trash, which should be in this day. But I mean, that movie made me take a tub of these. Not gonna do it right now. But I don't think the CGI is that bad in the film. I think the werewolves look cool and everything, and that being said, definitely the effects by Rick Baker are definitely better, but overall, the CGI is not that bad. They look real, the werewolves. Definitely not as cool as the effects by Rick Baker in this movie, and it's definitely easy to see that because Rick Baker had a more realistic approach on it. Whereas American Werewolf in London, Paris tries to go for the big blockbuster approach that a lot of movies seem to go for nowadays, and that is use CGI. But it doesn't look as bad as some of CGI today. CGI today looks worse than CGI back then. That's saying something. But still, overall, I think this movie's awesome. Definitely not as bad as some people have said, but I still understand the hate this movie gets. And one of the problems with the film, as I may mention this, is its title, An American Werewolf in Paris, because despite having a deleted scene in there, it has nothing to do with the first one. And that's it. And saying that is easy to tell. But if it had a different title other than American Werewolf in Paris, or hey, made it The Son of an American Werewolf, or just make it a remake, right? If it was a remake of this movie, I think it'd get more attention. Shit. And I think it would have been a lot better. But overall, it's not bad. It's definitely probably one of the best werewolf films out there. This will always be number one, though. But still, I don't think this is as bad. It's not a bad film. It's not a gem. But it is probably one of my favorites. So overall, if you like the first American Werewolf in London, definitely check this one out. If you want to see the sequel to it, or you want to see a remake, definitely check this out. It's not as bad as some people have said. It definitely gets a lot of laughs in it, too. That's another thing I forgot to mention. That's that there is a lot of laughs in this film. Definitely really funny parts in it. I don't want to go over a lot of the scenes, but there's definitely some funny parts in it. So, overall, even though it does have its problems, I give An American Werewolf in Paris a 9 out of 10. It deserves it. It is not bad, but you guys can say what you want about it. I think it's an awesome sequel. And if you want a good werewolf movie, definitely check this out. Or you like the first one, definitely go check this out. But either way, these are awesome werewolf movies that I think are probably the best werewolf movies ever made. So, yeah. But that is my review of American Werewolf in Paris. And next time, to finish off this werewolf thing, I'm going to be reviewing Dog Soldiers. Heck yeah. Been requested to review this film countless times, and now I'm going to do it. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later. Tell me what you guys think of American Werewolf in Paris in the comments below, even though I know there's going to be a lot of hate given to me. And I know that there's going to be a lot of hate towards the film, but just tell me what you think of it. I'll see you guys later. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.